Welcome to the beautiful Banks Peninsula in the South Island, not too far away from Christchurch, and just a few bays around from Littleton is where I'm standing, Little Akaloa Wharf, and this is the beautiful Little Akaloa Bay. And I'm here to tell the story of my great-great-grandfather on my mother's side. John Henry Menzies was born in 1839 in England and came out to New Zealand in 1860 on the boat Motueka at the age of 21. He settled in Southland, and before too long he set his eyes on a beautiful young woman, Frances. They got married and they started having a lot of children. They started a beautiful farm in Southland, but after a while my grandfather just found it too cold in the Southland area and decided to come to somewhere that was a bit warmer. So he started investigating around the North Canterbury area and finally came to this area in Banks Peninsula. He found a farm for sale in Macintosh Bay. He bought the farm, built a farmhouse, established his own farm there, and renamed the bay Menzies Bay, which is what it's called to this day. My great-great-grandfather John was quite an eccentric man, I think. He had a lot of funny habits, but he was very talented. He was quite a character, and he was well known in the area. And one of the things he loved to do was to carve. He took up this skill when he was young, but he loved the Maori carvings in New Zealand and tried to copy the things that they did. One of the other things that he loved was his faith. He was very committed in the Anglican Church. And one of the things that disturbed him was that there wasn't a standalone church in this area. In the Little Akaloa area, there had been the Anglican Church for a long time. They first of all met in a barn, and then they met in the new schoolhouse, and the schoolhouse was extended a little so that the church could meet. But unfortunately, it could only house 88 people. And after some time, the school and the church became a little bit run down. And so all the people in the area were saying, we need to have a church. It's not right that in our community we don't have a standalone church. And we'd like to have one that's made of stone, that's made of permanent materials so that it doesn't keep getting run down. So my great-great-grandfather John was somebody who was really pushing for this to happen. And he said, I'll give £400 if the church can raise £200. But sadly, they came up short. They weren't able to raise the money, and they did look around with the money they had to see if they could find contractors to build the church. But all the contractors said that it would take an enormous amount more money to build the church. My grandfather, my great-great-grandfather, was not to be deterred. And he said, look, I'll tell you what, I will build the church and I will pay for all of it if you let me design it and if you let me do it exactly the way that I want to. And I think the people were thinking to themselves, well, this is a wonderful offer. Let's let him do it. Let him design it. Let him build it exactly the way that he wants to do it. And so that's what he did. He set to work in 1905 and got a whole lot of locals, a lot of his friends together and said, let's do this as a big project. Let's work together and let's build something that will be a legacy. I'm sure that you'll agree as we go just up the hill over here on my right, you'll see that what they built was something pretty special and to this day has become a heritage piece for our country. In fact, it's one of those little hidden treasures in New Zealand that not many people know about, but is something that has left a legacy for Christchurch and for our country. So here it is. This is St. Luke's Church in Little Akaloa. We've come from the beach up to the right-hand side, up a little hill, and this is the area that was cleared and the church was built. It took nearly 2 years to build. They started in March 1905 and completed in December 1906. And most of the materials were local. They got a lot of the timber just locally, and the outside of the church has got shingle and sand from the local beach, and then lots of shells. If you look up closely, there's pawa shells and other shells just down from the local beach. My great-great-grandfather John had a lot of the locals that were working with him, and they worked very, very hard. They got a lot of local tradespeople to help them, and they have come up with an amazing finished product. Let's go inside and have a look. My great-great-grandfather, John Henry Menzies, was quite a craftsman. He'd done a bit of carving when he was a boy back in England, and then his life was taken over with children and farming. But in the 1880s, he got a real interest in Maori carving. He was fascinated by the ways that marae were designed and travelled all around New Zealand, especially in Rotorua, looking at carving design. He was worried that this art of carving might be lost, so he wanted to take it up and put Maori carving everywhere. All throughout the house he built, he made Maori carving. Up and down the stairs and the bookcases, around the fireplaces, everywhere. He would get pieces of furniture, and when he was going on long train rides, he would take a piece of the furniture with him with a little pack of chisels and chisel away and learn to do Maori carving. He actually wrote a book on Maori carving, which is a historic piece today and well recognised, as he copied some of the designs from different marae and different meeting places around New Zealand. But what he really wanted to do was to do something very special in his own area of Little Akaloa. He was concerned that there wasn't a church locally, and so when he won the opportunity to do this project, he wanted to do it his way. He wanted to be able to make a statement. He wanted to be able to bring the art and crafts of tangata whenua into this project of St. Luke's. And so here I am standing inside this beautiful little historic church built well over 100 years ago. And you will see all the design, as the committee stated after the church was finished, that it was very, very much understated what had actually happened. John Menzies had not come and just built a church. He had built a work of art. So as well as building all the rafters and building the walls and providing all the seats, he set about to make sure that every part of the church was beautifully crafted. Not only with Maori designs, but also designs of some of the native trees and bushes around. And also it was sprinkled with verses from the Bible that would bring some significance to people as they came and worshipped. So let's have a look at some of the designs. You'll see that some of the things have been done in limestone from Mount Somers. Other parts have been done in rimu and different timbers. Of course, it has the Maori design of paua from some of the local beaches. And you will see that he has taken Maori design, he's taken native design and blended them together to make this amazing place of worship.